Today we are talking about the elusive sales funnel, the integrated sales funnel collaborative strategies for small business success. And today's going to be a little bit interesting. So I'm sure let us know, hit us feedback in the chat because we're trying something new, right? We've decided to take the sales funnel and approach the sales funnel from the perspective of the CFO, the perspective of sales and pricing, and the marketing perspective. Operations runs the funnel, right? So they get the stuff done. So there's not an operations funnel. And so we're gonna see how this lands. So the sales funnel, as we know, is really that journey to becoming an advocate, right? We are past just people just buying from us. We want us to be in a space where people become advocates for your brand. They start doing the marketing for you. So the journey is one of brand awareness, which we just talked about with Krispy Kreme, how much brand awareness they have now that, people, that nostalgia vibe, that, feeling, interest, right? Once there's brand awareness, there's an opportunity for then people to become interested in your product because this is what they've been searching for, moving them down that funnel to the place where they make a decision. Then you get them to a place where they convert. And then after they convert, it's really getting them to that point where they, again, advocate for your brand. So this is the sales funnel, nicely wrapped up very tight in a bow, right? So remember that all these categories have subcategories. So it's not just this is my sales funnel, let me do it. And because we talk customer journey, we the customer, this has to kind of be wrapped around that customer journey. So keep those things in mind, right? This is a simplified version of the sales funnel. So I think we should start. Let me see, who should we put in the hot seat? So I think we have to go, I think we actually can't, I think we have to go CFO. I think we start CFO to sales to CFO finance sales funnel to the sales funnel to the marketing sales funnel. Mike, did I get that right? Should we do that, or should we mix it up differently?
Let's switch it up. So we are going from marketing into sales and finance and operations. We will talk over the entire thing. So
okay.
So yeah, marketing, we're gonna start. This is getting the leads. This is getting them in. Sales is gonna close and do the conversions. Finance is gonna be happy for the conversions, and I'm gonna be happy to see everything working well.
All right. We'll do it the way it was set up and intended. All right, I'll just roll with it. Okay, so when marketing is thinking about the sales funnel, what we're thinking about is the action that we're going to take as the brand first. We're going to think about the customer reaction, and we're going to think about those metrics and KPIs, right? So in your funnel, there's that thing that says every action has a reaction. So every action actually has a metric and KPI associated with it in digital as well, along with the reaction. So the first action is that you as a brand are going to say, I want to introduce my brand to the world. If I'm a new brand, so how are you going to do that? You're going to do it through social media, through Google Ads, through SEO, through social media posts. You'll come out, you'll say, this is who I am, this is what I do. And that's something that you're probably going to continue to do for a little bit, right? And you're going to start getting in front of your audience through people searching and finding you, through people finding you on social media, maybe using hashtags. So all those activities that we talk about, this is going to be that top of the funnel action that draws people into you. So let's say now they then click on the ad, they click on, they put in this keyword, they come through the social media post, back to your website, to your link tree, or wherever they come into you, then you are looking to really understand, okay, how many people does the ad reach? Right? And then how many they reach, how many people clicked on the ad? Were there any shares? Were there any comments? Were there any saves? Because now you're starting to gauge in this funnel through these KPIs, you're starting to understand, okay, my level of interest. They saw this, people are interested, they clicked on the ad, they got to the homepage. Oh, they didn't click, but they shared it to their friends because maybe, they're doing the referral thing. Here's someone that's interested. They saved it. That tells me there's intent. It tells me some things about the ad, comments, questions. Those things say there's interest here. There is some intention here. These numbers are going to tell me I'm in the ballpark, I'm in the right space, and I may need to optimize a little bit more. But once I understand every KPI that's associated with that, that's my action. The business's action is your action. The customer reaction is whatever action they take. And then the KPI is the thing that you're saying, okay, this tells me that something is, I need to make a change or I need to keep on moving.
See, that wasn't so bad. That was great.
Leave me alone.
So, so I'm kind of excited about trying to take this direction. So looking at this operationally, what I'm seeing is that by doing this funnel and laying it out, I'm seeing all the assets that I need to have prepared. I'm seeing that, I need to have an ad. I need to have maybe several ads. I'm looking at what are my resources. So I can now start to say, okay, this is all the things that I need to create, because what I'm doing is in this funnel is I'm looking at all the opportunities I'm giving somebody to take an action in different ways. As we said, go back to that very, complex customer journey today. So that what we're looking at is all the places that we're going to give the customer an opportunity to take an action. What are the assets required, and where is the reporting going to happen? So again, looking at those KPIs, what does that dashboard then look like? What is the main thing in the dashboard? So that's where operations would look at this and say, right, okay, this is how we treat with this sales funnel as it's set up here.
I guess finance could go now. So from a finance perspective, what finance should be concerned about at this stage is what is the action at this point is probably some sort of mass advertising, right? You mentioned it, Tamari spoke about the social media posts, etc. So we would be concerned about what is the ratio of the advertising spend versus the entire marketing budget, because this will now speak to how much do I need to allocate to this type of activity versus my entire marketing budget. So we want to understand the allocation, right? That will also say to us, are we, especially if you're trying to launch something new, maybe you have a new product, where are you in the journey? If you're now launching, you're going to be mostly in the brand awareness for a period of time. So that's one thing that I would be concerned about. I'll also want to understand the performance of this advertising. So things like website performance, click-throughs, are the ads driving the people to the website that we've created? And of course, if we had to create a website to begin with, there's a cost attached to that as well. The creation, Michael mentioned, you need to understand what digital assets you need. That in itself has a cost, right? We want to understand what's happening there. We want to understand the social media metrics. And of course, because we say beyond the likes, we don't want the likes, but what we want to understand, or at least what we should understand, is things like organic growth of followers. That is saying that your brand, that people are becoming aware. So you want to understand, well, has my page grown? We don't want to buy the followers. We're not doing that, right? But we want to see, how has my page been performing? If I am seeing a trend where things are growing organically, people are sharing, and this is where the CFO needs to understand what these things mean. What does a follow mean? What does a share mean? Right? Then this would indicate how effective that advertising dollar is really being. Because remember, I am aware that I'm just in my awareness phase. We didn't reach the sales yet, so I'm aware that I'm not necessarily looking for the sale just yet. But because I'm in my brand awareness phase, I want to see that the awareness is actually happening. So you want to be able to tell your CFO, well, our social media activity has been increasing. And if you compare our page maybe to the page of a competitor, this is where we're at. So these are the type of things that you can, in this stage, bring to the attention of finance to effectively demonstrate that money is being spent effectively. Michelle?
Now, should we move to the sales portion of this? I just think it's such a great companion, actually, T, for us to start with you, because it's the engine that gets us out there. From a sales perspective, what we're looking at in this brand awareness stage is, where are we in the, as we said, the no factor, by creating content that she's going to use in this marketing, that's persona-based content, that's going to show our lanyard, that's something extra, that is entailed with our brand values. What solutions are we putting on the table, attracting the target audience that comes to us? And we're doing that in that action. And what we're looking for in that client reaction for our prospects and those that we've already sold to, that we want to keep engaged. We want them to watch our videos, engage and read our blog articles. We want them to subscribe and visit our site and spend time on our site, and literally engage with what we're putting out there. And that engagement looks like, are they subscribing? Are they liking? Are they sharing? Are they following? Are they asking us questions in that introductory phase of getting to know each other? That's the response that we're looking for. And when we answer their call for information on, please tell me something about you, introduce yourself to me. That's what's happening in that awareness stage at the very top of the sales funnel. And what we're looking for as a measurement of, are we in the right place? Are we aligned and taking them in the right place in that guided tour that we spoke about earlier, is how many people are reading our blog articles or watching those videos? How many people are subscribing to our articles or our YouTube page or our LinkedIn page? What does our website traffic look like? Is it increasing on those specific pages that we're driving them to? Because as he's doing that marketing, we're very intentional on where we're driving them to gain a certain reaction in a specific place. And how many of those people are liking, following, and sharing. So those are the bits of pieces that we're looking for in what we are putting out there, how they're responding to us. And do we need to reset, is what we're looking at in those metrics, or keep on the same road of what we're doing.
Michael, translate. So, again, this is an exercise that we're doing here, right? We're running these up against each other. So translate.
Sure. Nia, just bring that slide back up for a second. So the biggest thing I want to kind of hone in on is that this is a live, when it goes live, it's a living, breathing thing. It's a feedback loop. So we are putting this content out, we are putting out these resources, but then we're also looking at that feedback. So we are looking at those metrics, and operationally, we must have that loop that says, is it working? Keep going, more content in this form, this way. If it's not, stop. What's the new direction? Maybe some research is required. Maybe we have to look at some competitive analysis. Again, your competition is doing stuff at the same time. So when you've put this out now, operationally, you've got to keep an eye on that performance. That's why looking at that performance at every stage is so key, because at every stage, you may have to shift what you're doing operationally. You may have to redo a web page. You may have to create a landing page. You might realize this copy doesn't work. You may realize you have a new segment that you found within this flow. So there are a lot of things operationally that can happen once you understand and you've laid out clearly in this way. This is how you want to have your customers move through to that final conversion, and not just the final conversion, but that post-sale, capture those reviews, everything. So a lot of stuff that happens here operationally, but you can look at this slide and say, okay, this is where we start, and these are the things that we're going to look to either optimize or discard depending on its performance. So
we clearly see here that every sales and finance now have the cycles are broken down, because marketing is coming back to sales to talk to these KPIs, and we're coming back to finance to talk to their KPIs, right? So there's a constant conversation that's happening to say, okay, sales, here's what we've seen, here's what you got, and then finance, yes, we are moving the needle forward, and we're seeing these little moves. So I guess combining everything we've talked about, right? The three of us have talked about here, the four of us have talked about here. What is the action for a business executive watching this? I guess is my point, right? What are they taking away from this top of the funnel activity that they now need to go back and say, as they're talking to the team? Is it that they're saying they're walking away understanding that we need to be clear on everyone's the key stakeholders, and where their metrics matter? What are the metrics that matter to them, right? As we're trying to build out this funnel, and then understanding the potential issues that may be arising for optimization, right? So there's really a conversation that should be had with all the teams, right? So it's, again, breaking down the silos. So I may have overstated that, but
and definitely feeding back to my CFO, listen, we need to outsource this production of this content, which is going to cost this much, right? Any shifts within that campaign, or any new things, any new direction that we may not be able to handle internally. So I think we should walk away with a way of looking at it to understand, the resources that are required, not only in terms of the social media or the external resources, the marketing resources, the internal resources that are required. Then we're going to look at the time that this is all going to run over. So that's one thing that the sales funnel always bothered me, the sales funnel. There wasn't a time element, right? How are you expecting them to move from phase to phase? And that feedback loop, now we're closing, as you said, closing all the silos all together to say, this is what's going to happen. This is how it's going to happen. This is what it's going to cost to make it happen. And then we can look at definitely at the end of the day, then how much did it really cost me to acquire these customers, given that I've done all of these things?
Right. So this is a sales funnel. This is an activity. This is an activity that, if you are a business owner and you are doing this by yourself, put your hats on and do it. But if you have a team, this is an activity you guys can actually do together. So really consciously think through, what does my sales funnel look like, right? After you've thought through your customer journey, what does this activity look like? And go through this process, because what you start seeing is where you guys are connected more than anything else, and then where those differences lie. So Nia's like, time check. I know we've spent a lot of time on just point number one, but what we're doing kind of makes sense. And then Andrea is in the background, like, operations and finance should be last. She's giving us like notes. So Andrea, talk about why you think operations and finance should be last in this conversation. I mean, it's an experiment.
Well, it's a sense that they overlay all the activities. And as you can see, some of even the KPIs that I spoke about was relevant to both sales and marketing. When I spoke about the performance of the website, that you would think initially that's not a finance thing, but it is, because that's what will tell finance that the thing is working. Because not all the time does success look like money coming in. The success could also look like an activity being effective, right? Because effectiveness means money well spent, right? So I think, finance, it's a overlay of all the activities. Finance is just in the middle there, inside of everything. It's not a silo. We definitely know it's not a silo, but it's a kind of conversation that's happening with everybody. It's mixed up in there, that you can't, at every stage, don't forget to consult finance, because the decision that you make may have a impact at finance. So it's kind of like it's not at the end, but it's kind of like woven in between. So it's kind of like you bring everything, and finance could give a pronouncement of, hey, well, here's what all these decisions are going to cost us, right? Here's what all these decisions are going to cost us. So, you bring it to the table to see if all these decisions.
Yeah, I'm going to submit something to the group, and Nia, if you could bring up the slide again. to point out a couple of things, and I know that we're just to let everybody know. One, what this is profoundly saying is that educating the entire team up front is really important. One, because as we're all noticing here, there's something in every stage for every one of us that's on this screen, every one of us. Two, multiple clients are in multiple areas of the sales cycle all the time. Everybody's not sitting at the top of the funnel all the time. We have clients in every one of these stages of the client journey. Therefore, all of us need to be at the table, sometimes leading that process as they move along. For instance, skipping down to the last one, as a brand advocate that we're looking for from our clients, a lot of that's beyond where Tamara, from a marketing and sales perspective, that we've been pushed to the side because we've moved that over to whoever's handling post-implementation, whoever's handling the day-to-day items with the client at that stage, and up to and including those that are delivering invoices and collecting money, or dealing with the experience with the client. So who is leading the process or have the lion's share of the load of ensuring that customer reaction is where we need it to be, and what that metric needs to be will shift amongst us pending the client that we're dealing with and where they are in that particular area of the sales cycle. So all of us are here at all times, to me, and need to be educated on the whys and what their role is in the key efforts here. So all of us are marketers, all of us are salespeople, operations, and finance is what this is saying to me.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely agreed. Absolutely agreed. So this definitely then looks like a means of understanding. As you were talking, I was saying like, from an operational perspective, I have to understand, what are the workflows that come out of these things, right? So this is a line item. What's the workflow that triggers after the action has been taken or the reaction has been taken? So yes, we've driven sales, we've streamlined the checkout process. We're looking to optimize, making sure that we're reducing friction at every stage. But then maybe there are internal things that need to happen based on that customer reaction that are not here, right? So yes, I absolutely agree that we're all in the mix, and it's all that support of each silo, and that's each silo supporting the other silo. So that's why I thought this was a worthy exercise to see like how we look at this from all our chairs and figure out, well, okay, this means more than just the customer takes this reaction because we did this, and that ends up the sale. Great point that our customers, our ideal customers, our potential customers exist at every point throughout this funnel.
We're at the point of like final thoughts already, like.
How do we get there? Wow.
We are definitely moving this into next show, obviously, because there's so much to cover here. There's just a lot.
We only scratched the surface of the sales funnel. So I'm going to give everyone, like, where did the hour go? What happened? So, all right, I'm going to give everyone an opportunity to kind of give their final thoughts on the sales funnel and, that perspective. So, Michelle, let me kick it over to you first. And then we go from there. Andrea, Mike, and then we wrap it up.
What I found interesting, it from this side of the table, I've often said that this is, all of us are everyone. We all have a responsibility in this, and I'm great at saying everybody's a salesperson all the time. But what I love about this exercise that we're exposing and being real transparent about, that was another, gut check for me as I was walking through this, is that everything is a call and response, and a stop in the road of, am I on the right path, moving the right way? And the intention is real important at every piece of this. And that was real comforting as I was reading what Tamara put in as the marketing component. Andrea's piece, I wanted to be blindsided. And when I was looking at what she's doing there, and I was like, that feels so good. So as we're saying, all aligned, and that we're all, how important it is that we are breaking down the silos, that we're educating each other, that we are intentional from the beginning to and through in the continuum to make sure that it's not just frictionless, but the experience happens. And this, more than anything, shows us that this really is so very important, that we really think through each piece of the process and understand how to connect the dots. So I'm loving this entire conversation, and I know it's going to take us probably 2 more shows to get through this thing. So, but it's so worth it. It's so very worth it, I think.
I had fun with this conversation. And yeah, I can't wait for us to continue. I can't believe you only just got through one part of the funnel, but that is just to tell you, I think that's testament to how involved everyone has to be, and everybody's involvement is very important because we each have something to bring to the table. And the takeaway that I want to leave for CFOs is you need to, just like on this show that we say go beyond the likes, sometimes you need to go beyond the numbers and go beyond the traditional numbers, right? What we're talking about here, what I exposed here was KPIs like website traffic. As a CFO, you probably never bothered to even think about that. You probably just found out how much it costs to run the website and you just signed the check and that was it. But you have to start to understand, well, how did this thing that I paid for work? And if I have a sales team that's going through this journey, where do I fit in the sales and the marketing, right? We usually, finance and operations usually go together. So you probably already have the operations part understood, but the sales and the marketing part, really take an understanding as to what are the things that they do that can help you understand the money better. Because in the KPIs that sales and marketing are following, there is a lot of nuggets of information in there that you could take away that says money is being spent well, money is being spent bad. We see potential for growth because because this is where we're going. Start to look in these, what I would call for now, the non-traditional spaces, because you probably weren't in there before, to truly understand what is happening there. And yeah, that's how you can add value to the process, because you're now going to come with the finance, take the non-traditional KPIs and add the finance element to it, and truly add value to the process.
Well said, well said. I definitely want business owners to take away from this conversation that understanding of what's required once you've set up your sales funnel, because of course you've got to support the activities that you need to do in terms of creating that content, creating all the pieces that go into that sales funnel have to be done on a consistent basis. So what can you handle internally? What do you need to outsource? What's worth your while? So this is where the CFO conversations come in, right? Because sometimes you can say, oh, I can do it myself, but is it worth your while to do it yourself? Does it take too long? So it's a way of looking at things operationally and easily putting together a checklist of what resources will I need? Will I source them internally? And how long will I take to get them out? So yeah, that's the start of this conversation. I think we've got to hook up the customer journey, the sales funnel, everything into one and do something big, maybe a webinar.
Oh my God.
Marketers to the end, all of us.
Just like, if you guys can see the chat, the private chat, we're all like a buzz, okay? I know this could be intense, okay? So I want to simplify it for you. Because we definitely nerded out here. So these sales funnels, this is how you get the customer from getting to know you to buying from you. And these are the steps along the way, and the KPIs along the way, the metrics along the way. It's really the flow of how everything goes, right? And so the things you want to consider in a B2B journey, it's a little bit more convoluted. In the B2C journey, it could be a little bit more convoluted as well. Less convoluted, my apologies. So you have an opportunity to pull back and start just thinking about it, right? What does my sales funnel really look like? What's those steps from getting to know me, getting to, like me, making a decision, then reading your content, really moving through those steps. and then tying that customer journey. So go back and watch Monday's show, watch Wednesday's show, because we hit buying persona to customer journey. And then now we're breaking down this sales funnel in a way that really leans into all the key stakeholders in your business. So take from this what you must, but understand if you haven't had a sales funnel conversation with your team, now we really implore you to step in and have a sales funnel conversation, right? And this should be the starting point. This is our starting point. We're doing this, so we want this to be a starting point for you as well. Start having the sales funnel conversation. No longer say sales funnel and be like, what you need to be like, what does it look like? How are we doing it? What does sales think about it? What does marketing think about it? How's operations looped into it? Every time you hear sales funnel, ask that question, right? Get past just a pretty picture of the funnel. We know what that looks like. Get to the heart of the funnel.